The Fiancé is an interesting one. It's got a love story, a Russian mob story, and of course a Bigfoot story. But those three things don't usually go in the same movie. But let's give this a chance and see how The Fiancé plays out. The strangeness starts out right away with a little short. Yeah, you know how Pixar usually has those little 30-second movies before the opening credits? Well, this is nothing like that, at all. I've seen better animation on bowling alley television screens. It's called Bigfoot vs. Bunny, and, well, Bigfoot wins. Now on to the feature presentation. First we meet Michael Thornton. He's some sort of rich businessman, and he has this big weekend getaway plan for him and his girlfriend, hopefully soon to be fiancé. On his way to the cabin, he's listening to some radio show where the DJs are talking about Bigfoot. This is actually where the idea for the film came from. The director/writer woke up one night and started listening to the radio. They were talking about Bigfoot and played some howls that really freaked him out. This gave him the idea to write a movie about Bigfoot. So, let's be honest. We probably have Coast to Coast to blame for this. We cut to Phil Philman, who's making a Bigfoot documentary. He interviews some people who have had experiences with the beast. One girl got her arm ripped off by the creature, and another guy, who claims to be an expert, goes through all the different sounds they make. It's just supposed to be comic relief, but I feel bad for this guy. Well, Michael finally makes it to the cabin, and he gets a phone call from his partner Jerry. Some sort of business deal has gone sideways, and he had to move money fast. Everything is good, he just needs Michael to sign some paperwork. So, he's gonna have to interrupt his evening of lovemaking. That's okay, Sarah's running late too. It's in this scene I noticed something super annoying. Michael wears his watch on the outside of his shirt. That bothers me. I don't like it. When Sarah finally does show up, she's attacked before she can even get in. Bigfoot gets her, and in this movie, you don't die from a Bigfoot bite, but you're transformed, like a werewolf. She knocks on the door, Michael lets her in, and she hits him over the head and starts attacking. There's a brief moment where she goes back to normal, but then she just goes right back into attack mode. When Michael wakes up, she's gone, and it seems like, for now, she still has a bit of a human side in her. He goes to the bathroom to clean himself up, and then, boom! Sarah attacks him again. Stay away from the window, man. This time she bites his finger off. He knocks her out, but she gets right back up and runs away. He goes back to the bathroom, but, I think it might be time to go to the hospital. Your finger was just bitten off. Ah, duct tape. Good call. Flashback to when Michael meets Sarah's parents. Her dad seems to be involved in the Russian mafia and wants Michael to do a job for him. All he has to do is go to a jewelry store, get into the safe, take all the money and an envelope that's in there. They have a guy working on the inside, so it shouldn't be a hard job. Michael can keep all the money, they just want the envelope. They say that it could be up to $5 million, so yeah, not a bad haul. Everything goes down without a hitch, and Michael is able to reinvest the money he stole into his company. So that's what Jerry was talking about in the beginning, and why he's coming to the cabin. Well, he finally shows up, and Sarah attacks him before he can even get to the door. Poor guy didn't even know what was coming. Sarah keeps getting in, and Michael has to fight her off. Each time she takes another body part. Eventually, he gets the balls to actually fight her. He gets a knife, and he goes to the mantel to get a gun, but, dude, just get in the car and get out of there. He does eventually use some common sense when he calls 911, but the police are far too busy getting baked to care. Michael remembers where it all went wrong with Sarah's dad, which it really isn't fair. He's upset that Michael spent all the money, but they did say he could have it. All they wanted was that envelope. Well, they tell him he has 24 hours to pay up. And he doesn't have the money anymore because he invested it. So he does what any sensible person would do: barge into the Russian mob house and kill everyone. Somehow he gets away with it. Sarah, and everyone else I guess, thinks that they just all up and left and didn't want to be found. They think he's just living it up on some island somewhere and not 6 feet under. No time to live in the past, because we have our own problems to deal with now. Sarah's in the house, and she gets a hold of his, well, you know, and bites it off. Okay, really now? This guy has 2 fingers, a thumb, a toe, and now his wang bitten off. It's time to go to the hospital. Well, I guess getting your wiener bit off is the last straw, because Michael gets ready for a fight. He wraps a towel around Sarah's head and starts beating the crap out of her. He eventually kills her, picks up the engagement ring and all his appendages from the freezer, and finally gets out of there. He's speeding down the road and he hits a hiker. Oops. Well, what's another kill for this guy? He just tosses his book bag over the bank and keeps going. He sees the beast in the woods, and it looks pretty laughable. Glue some hair on a guy and give him contacts. There, you have your Bigfoot. Well, this thing turned his girlfriend and ruined his weekend. He's not gonna let him get away. Finally, we hear the radio DJs again talking about how a body of a Bigfoot was actually found in the middle of the road with a tire iron sticking out of his chest. Then, they say that doctors were able to reattach all the fingers and a toe of a man, but no mention of his wang. After the credits, there's a scene where they interview Michael for that Bigfoot documentary. He says he has irrefutable evidence that his story is true. Then he leans in and we see that he's starting to change into a Sasquatch too. Then we get Bigfoot vs. Bunny round 2. Great, just what we needed. Well, the bunny inflates, then hops over to Bigfoot. It shows its teeth, then eats him. Good, that's over with. But know what's not over? The movie, because there's another end credit scene at the very end. This time the police show up at the cabin and Jerry's there, transformed into the creature. There, it's finally over now. Thank goodness. There are so many things wrong with the fiancé. The first being that she was never his fiancé. He never got a chance to propose. But the title is hardly the problem here. Where to start? First off, I think Michael was too old. Now, younger women date older men all the time, but when he showed up to meet her dad, he looked so much older than him. When they wanted their money back, it was like they were threatening their grandpa more than anything else. I just feel like they could have casted someone better. Speaking of casting, did they hire any real actors? I mean, Sarah was good, but literally everyone else sucked. I can believe that if Bigfoot bites you, you can turn into one. But I can't believe that Michael wouldn't get into his own car and just drive and get help right away. I know they were trying to make him look like a tough guy that can handle his own problems, but, I mean, come on. When Bigfoot attacks you, I don't care who you are. You go get help. It's not all bad. The music was fine. The gore is on point. Every time Michael lost a finger, it had me shudder. I had to give them credit where credit is due. They came up with an original Bigfoot story that kept me interested throughout. But one watch through is more than enough. I give The Fiancé 1 bitten off finger out of 4.